What's up, everybody? We are back once again with episode 76 of the Super Deformed Gamescast. As always, I am your host, John, and I have a bunch of my friends with me today with one guest, our buddy Rand al Thor on the podcast. What's up, man? Always good. Always good for you to stop by.
It's always good to be on the Super Deformed Gamescast live Thursdays at 8 p.m. As you always love to say.
9 p.m.
It's 8 p.m. here in the only time zone that matters, and that is Central Time Zone. So thanks for having me on again. Central Time Zone. You know, Chicago. The only place that matters.
My man.
But not the Cubs, though. Not the Cubs. I don't know why me and John are friends, because he's a Cubs fan and I'm a White Sox fan, and I was basically brought up to hate the Cubs. And I do hate the Cubs.
I'm a North Sider, baby. What can I say? I got to represent.
Where I
grew up, man. But I've got the rest of my boys here. The microtransactions to my season pass, if you will, minus a few. I think JT's going to be along here soon. Hopefully Gabe joins us. I don't know where Steve is at. And we got Jay filling in for Jeff once again, man. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's up, guys? Not much.
Glad you could join us. We got a lot to talk about. We missed last week because some shit was going down. But here we are. We got a lot of topics. Before we get into them, Brandon, why don't you share your momentous fucking Overwatch achievement with everybody?
The grind has finally paid off in Overwatch. I hit a Grandmaster League on PC, which is the only platform that matters.
That's fucking outstanding. So it's taking you a whole year, right? Taking you a whole year of playing literally nothing but Overwatch.
I mean, like the Overwatch anniversary event started 2 days ago, so it's been exactly a year since the game came out.
So here's my question: how many Grandmasters are there?
On PC.
On PC, yeah.
It's probably maybe 10,000.
Okay.
Or it's the top 1% of the.
That's fucking crazy, dude.
Competitive players. Yeah.
You've been playing with some Twitch streamers.
Yeah, I played with a streamer today. We won our match.
Is that nerve-wracking?
I mean, just playing the game. Just playing the game is nerve-wracking. Like I honestly don't enjoy playing competitive. Like you kind of want to know how good you are, right? And if the game has a ranking system, like you might as well try to get as high as you can. So.
Well, yeah, dude.
So would you
awesome,
compare if you had to compare Overwatch to something, would it be crack?
For me, I mean, it is. It's overcracked, dude. But I've always been a Blizzard guy. I mean, I was playing Warcraft 2 when I was 13. So I've just always grown. StarCraft was one of my favorite games when I was a kid. I've just always grown up playing all their games.
Awesome, dude. That's a hell of an achievement, man. It's one that I'll never do because I'm just not that good over.
I mean, yeah, as far as competitive play in any game I've ever played goes, that's by far the highest I've ever reached. In StarCraft 2, I got Master League, which is pretty good. Because I mean, Overwatch is a team game, so your skill rating in Overwatch will never define exactly how you are as a player. Because every game is 6v6. You're never the 100% reason that you win or lose any game. Well, as StarCraft was 1v1, so it's if you won, it's because you played well. If you lost, it's because you fucked up.
Well, we've I want to kind of dive right into our topics because we've got a lot to talk about, and I wanted to give you guys a choice. So, and Rand, before we end the podcast, by the way, I'd like you to talk a little bit about Rhyme because you played it in your review and live today. We won't start with that, but I would like you to speak a little bit about that.
Sure.
So obviously so what do we want to talk about first? We got Destiny 2, we got Lawbreakers, we got Farcry 5, we got console parity, we got E3 coming up. We can talk about that. Which one do you guys want to tackle first?
Red Dead Redemption 2 got delayed in the least surprising news.
I'm fucking stunned.
Of the entire year.
This is a development that I don't think any of us saw coming.
Not a single one of us. No, I possibly foreseen this incident. What a shame.
In a game Rockstar has announced that it's come out on its initial release date.
I can't remember the last one. I mean, Max Payne 3, I think, wasn't delayed. But as far as a GTA or one of their big franchises, they all get delayed.
Yeah, they always get delayed.
Well, and they said that it's what the second quarter of 2015.
It's going to be I think they said after April.
So I guarantee you, and it's not a summer game. That's a fall game.
It's going to be May. It's going to be May.
I don't think.
You think fall?
Yeah, I think it's fall.
Okay.
They're going to take us.
I was still staying optimistic for May or June.
No, I don't
You think they're gonna?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like May or June.
No, it's going to be a fall game. I can almost guarantee we'll get another delay because right now it says fiscal year 18, which means it's not going to be any time before April.
Yep.
And we're going to get one more delay. It'll be maybe early fall, August, September.
That is going to be a game. Well, the reason I say fall.
They need the bends. How
Well,
are they
not
going to
only
get?
do they need the bends. That is a game that is going to well, one, it's going to sell a bajillion fucking copies, and two, that is a game that is going to move both PS4s and Xboxes. So they're going to want it to come out in the fall. So I guarantee that's going to happen.
Like our good friend Z Huge providing the charts. Have you seen the chart of the attach rate of GTA 5?
Fucking insane.
Sales? It's the
No,
same. Like,
I actually haven't.
You need
there's
to
a
look at it.
direct correlation between
Alright.
platform sales and GTA 5 sales.
Yeah.
So like when hardware sales are up, GTA 5 sales are up. When hardware sales are down, like the lines are exactly like parallel.
Like people always ask, like, who's still buying GTA? Well, the answer is everyone that's buying a new system is buying.
Basically, yeah.
5.
It's just
guys-
it's the game to buy with your new system.
Yeah,
You
GTA
guys are
5
missing
is
the
a fun game to
Megaton.
play.
Here. The Megaton.
What's the Megaton?
Is that what it's being delayed to add that sweet Nintendo Switch support?
That's it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I can't. Yeah. Brandon.
Now it's the Switch is actually getting a spin-off, Red Dead Redemption, and Red Dead Redemption and Friends, and it's
Red Dead Pony.
It's going to be the Red Dead Redemption version of the Muppet Baby.
Actually, I heard that the Switch version is going to, instead of like the regular character models, they're just going to have your Miis. This is going to be more populated by Miis with a less
Exactly.
quality.
It's the Muppet Baby, but for Red Dead Redemption.
So it seems the consensus here is you guys think it's coming out in the fall, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
I think it's 100% coming out in May. Like
I'm with you, dude.
like-
May, June.
Yeah, I feel like
if you
the
go-
other game, like
Yeah, but I mean, outside of Grand Theft Auto, basically all of Rockstar's games come out in May. Red Dead Redemption 1, Max Payne 3, they all come out in May. Like,
Well,
I
GTA
don't know,
5
I
was
expected-
originally supposed to come out spring 2013,
Yeah.
and it got delayed
And
again to like September.
in the
or whatever.
delay thing, they do say like spring 2018. So I immediately was like, all right, it'll be out in May. May's Rockstar month.
It did, yeah. It
And
did
Red-
say spring 2018. So like they're still targeting as
Yeah.
soon as the fiscal year as
And
possible.
but see, the thing is, I firmly believe they want May. I just also believe there will be another delay.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think they'll have it unlocked after one delay.
Yeah, but
They don't have the bends, so who knows?
You're right.
But
they don't have the bends, and
just based on the information that we saw in Zhuge's chart, I think that they're going to get pressure from both the big console manufacturers, Sony and Microsoft. I think they're going to get pressure to push it. To
I don't
fall
think
because-
Take-Two gives the least of a fuck what Sony and Microsoft want.
I don't think they care. I mean, like it's gonna sell
on fucking
like crazy
program.
nonetheless.
All right. Well, let's. You guys want to talk about? We'll pick Destiny 2. Let's talk about Destiny 2 first. We'll talk about Destiny 2 because that was kind of the big thing last week. We got a gameplay reveal, and a lot of discussion about whether or not it was Destiny 2 or Destiny 1.5. I thought it looked really good, and I'm a Destiny guy. Against my better judgment, I put hundreds of hours into Destiny. I thought it looked really good, and I don't get the complaints about, oh, it just looks like Destiny. I mean, the fucking tower is under attack, and the entire structure of the game is essentially changing. So I don't know. I don't understand. Who did everybody here watch the reveal?
I did, yes.
Yes.
All right, what did you guys think?
It looks
Destiny
great.
1.5.
No, Rand, come on, man.
Destiny 1.
Okay, all right. So I don't think it looks like it hasn't changed too much from Destiny 1, but Destiny 1's already like a great game. So if they just like build on from that, like it looks like that's what they're doing. Like I'm perfectly fine with that.
I mean, you hear all the behind-the-scenes stuff that went on. How the engine was terrible. How they rework everything. How there's like literally 800 people and like 4 studios working on this game.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I was expecting a lot, and what I saw could easily have been an expansion to the first game.
But here's the thing, though. All we saw was the opening mission, so I don't think that's a fair. I don't think it's a fair comparison.
Well, I mean, the first impressions, though. I mean, that is what they chose to show us.
First impression, sure, but from what I've heard, like for example, the European Dead Zone, which is one of the big explorable areas in the game. Interesting story behind that. Jason Schreier was saying that was one of the first things that was cut from the original Destiny And it was the one thing that everybody was like, why did you cut that? It was amazing. Apparently, the European Dead Zone is incredible. It's a lot of fun. And the explorable area is the size of every other map in the first game combined. And there's secret bosses, there's secret dungeons you can find. There's actually towns. No more of those beacons. There's actually towns with outposts now and quest givers. So I think I can understand why people would say, oh, it just looks like Destiny. I mean, yeah, it looks like Destiny, but at the same time, I feel like people are jumping in the gun on, oh, it could be an expansion, or oh, it just looks like Destiny.
Well, I mean, you yourself just said that the European Dead Zone was content from Destiny 1.
But we never saw the European Dead Zone, and the cutting of the addition of zones like the European Dead Zone completely changed the structure of the game. It becomes more of an open world MMO as opposed to just a series of zones that you go to pick up quest beacons. Again, having said that, we don't know a whole lot about the game yet. I could be way fucking off. Maybe it is Destiny 1.5. I urge people to reserve judgment.
I feel like if
I may.
More. Please,
I may.
You may.
I was a big Destiny fan. I mean, I didn't stick with it right around. I got burned out around the Taken King. But my personal, and this is purely anecdotal, take it as you will, but my entire friend base, like the IRL peeps, they are what you would consider your more mainstream gamer. They are currently cracking out over Ghost Recon Wildlands, and they love Grand Theft Auto. Like, they play Call of Duty, they play the shooters. They were hanging on every word and blowing up my phone with, did you see this new thing? Look, you get 6 shots on your golden gun now. Like, to the basic Destiny fans, it is everything they could have hoped for and more. And they went from being like...
Wasn't there like 500,000 people watching the reveal?
Yeah, it was some fucking crazy number.
Yeah, there was a lot of people.
Fucking like the game is gonna be.
Like,
this game is going to sell more than.
Let him go ahead. I cut him off. Good.
Oh no, Matt, go ahead.
Well, I mean, Call of Duty last year didn't really sell that well.
Well, hold on. I didn't mean to cut Matt off. Let's let Matt finish.
No, it's fine. It's just, I personally, while it wasn't the evolution I expected, personally, I think that they're going to add enough to make it feel like it's a brand new game. While it may not be a huge evolutionary leap, I think it's going to stand on its own and clearly be Destiny 2 versus Destiny 1. But just from what I've seen from anyone that I know personally that is not nearly as into gaming as I am, like the Destiny 2 reveal might as well have been Christmas for them because they are all in.
Okay, so
every single one of them went to the store and pre-ordered it that day.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Whoa, I'm getting some feedback from somebody. But here's the thing about Destiny 2, right? Somebody needs to turn their mic off. Somebody needs to turn it down because I can hear myself talking pretty bad. I don't know who it is, but we got to fix that. There we go. Much better. Whoever that was, much better. So here's the thing about Destiny 2, right? This is the first game in the Destiny franchise, we can call it a franchise now, that is not going to be fettered by the restrictions of the 7th generation of consoles, right? This is only coming out on PS4 and Xbox One. And that already was very apparent to me in the just looking at the particle effects in the destruction of the tower in that first mission, which I thought was really impressive. But more than that, like Brandon said, there was a fucking insane amount of people watching the reveal for this game. This is going to be the year that Call of Duty gets outsold. But I mean, last year, Jay was right. Last year,
I think that's a pretty safe bet.
Last year, Call of Duty, it didn't sell as well. I mean, Call of Duty has been on a kind of a decline year over year in regards to sales, but it was still I believe the highest selling game last year.
It was, yeah.
I think that changes this year. I think Destiny will outsell it.
Destiny 2. I think Call of Duty World War II will be number 2. It'll go Destiny 2, Call of Duty. But I think this
Activision will be happy.
Activision stays winning. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't give a shit.
Yeah. And they're sitting there like in Overwatch and Hearthstone and WoW and just sitting there going like, who gives a fuck? But I think it always happens. It's like a pendulum shift that no one first-person shooter remains on top forever. Halo gave way to Call of Duty.
It's been 10 fucking years of Call of Duty.
So it's time. But I mean, Halo dominated for 6 years as well until Modern Warfare 1.
Yeah, exactly. Six years.
And then before that, it was GoldenEye, and before that, it was your Doom and Wolfenstein and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's about time. And Destiny 1 made a solid attempt, but it's like I think Destiny 2 is going to be the one to take the crown.
So I want to address two things in chat real quick. One, we've got some new viewers tonight, so guys, welcome. Please don't forget to sub. We hope you enjoy it. We're glad you're here. And two, Crackdown 3 is not going to it's not going to be the number one. No, that's not going to happen.
John, I just wanted to say, like, I kind of agree with you guys about like Destiny 2 being number one if they continued on the sci-fi stuff. The fact that there seems to be a lot of positive reception towards going back to boots on the ground in World War II leads me to believe that Call of Duty might still top Destiny. And like, I mean, you look at like Destiny 2, there are a lot of people that, even though there's a huge following on Destiny, I'm not sure it's going to break out, like whatever it sold. Say the first one sold 15 million, right? I'm not sure suddenly we're going to see 30 million. We might see 15 million again, or we might see even less. I mean, there were a lot of people that were turned off by the game. I'm not sure you'll see an increase, but you can almost guarantee you'll see an increase from Infinite Warfare sales just on the positive reaction of World War II.
I agree, but I think people are overestimating what exactly a change in setting is going to do for Call of Duty this year. Because at its heart, it's still just Call of Duty, which is not a bad thing. But this is also, but it's not like World War II is a unique setting. I mean,
there are like 7 Call of Duty games in World War II.
You know, and personally,
it's been what, 8 years since World War
8 years or something like that. But I mean, here's the thing about World War II, right?
9 years
after Wolfenstein, The New Order, this World War II setting needs to fucking bring it, because
I'm super excited for Call of Duty World War II.
So am I. Like
the most I've been excited for a Call of Duty since Modern Warfare 2. I
will completely agree with you. I have,
because I mean, I'm old school on Call of Duty. Like I played the first one when I was in high school. Like,
I haven't been
the first one, not Modern Warfare 1, like Call of Duty 1.
So yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to semi-agree with Rand. I think that Call of Duty sales will see a huge bump this year. Obviously, it's a change in setting, it's a change in pace, and I think it's something that the series has sorely needed for quite some time. I think everybody was getting tired of fucking, Call of Duty, Destiny warfare. I think everybody's getting sick of that. But at the same time, I think that I don't see
Call of Duty medieval warfare.
Yeah, that would be fucking awesome. Dude, I have said it before, and I will say it again. Take it back to the Revolutionary War and call it Call of Duty Revolutionary Warfare. It fucking names itself, dude.
Yeah, I don't think
you don't want that?
It'd be very fun to fight.
Some fucking muskets and some flintlock pistols, dude.
But here's why I think Destiny 2 will still prevail, is that Call of Duty will obviously be a huge seller, and I definitely agree with Rand that it will be an uptick over Advanced or Infinite Warfare. But Destiny 2 is releasing on PC.
Yeah.
And I think the PC fan base will embrace Destiny 2 far more than they've ever embraced Call of Duty.
You're right, but we need to see the PC port of that game, because Bungie is not
true.
handling
and it's coming out after. It's not launching simultaneously. So
I mean, if it launches fucked up, they'll fix it. I guarantee you.
Yeah. I feel like the initial kind of like, oh, it's Destiny 1.5 reaction. It seems like a lot of the features that are changing aren't seen in the singular missions. And I feel like they should have shown like a patrol or something, because a lot of those features they're showing are like patrol-based stuff, and they just completely didn't show that. I feel like that would have gone a long way.
I want a really good story, right? Like if you're gonna do Call of Duty World War II, I want a really good story, and I don't expect to get that out of a Call of Duty game.
I want a really good story in Destiny 2. That's what I wanted from Bungie. I wanted a great sci-fi story, which I didn't get.
Well, hey, man,
all the story in the Grimoire
no more Grimoire cards, man.
I know, but I mean, like, look, there's like a couple things I expect from a Bungie game. Great gameplay, which they nailed with the first one, and a great like sci-fi setting, which they completely shit the bed on with the first one. So I'm just not a fan. My problem with Destiny, real quick, is this: I'm not a fan of the mission structures. I'm not a fan of the MMO farming, and that's why I don't like Destiny.
That's fair.
Well, that's a completely fair criticism. So. speaking of criticisms of Destiny, let's move into something that I know a few of us, including especially Rand, probably have a few things to say on because it's been kind of a hot topic. And let's talk about frame rates for Destiny 2. There has been a lot of talk over the past week about the fact that Destiny 2, on consoles anyway, will see a fixed 30 frames per second frame rate. That is for PS4 Pro, that is for Scorpio, that is for Xbox One S, and for vanilla PS4.
There should be a 60 FPS option on the advanced platforms. I'm
going to disagree with you, but we can get into why. So I want to start with Maddie.
I mean, like do a variable resolution, like drop the settings, but like make it an option to play in 60.
Okay, so so we can jump in right here, right? So this has been kind of the big conflict is the fact that if you let's say I'm playing on PS4 Pro and I'm playing at 60 frames a second, and I'm playing with Maddie and he's playing on plain old vanilla PS4 and he's playing at 30 frames a second, and we are facing each other off. We are facing off in the Crucible, right? I have an inherent advantage because I'm playing something. I have a better response time, and I'm running a game at 60 frames a second as opposed to Maddie, who's running a game at 30 frames a second, and he's going to have just a tiny bit of latency.
Right. That's true. Do people take Destiny seriously as a competitive game?
They do.
They do. Okay. In the Crucible, they
yeah. That's okay. That's just my own ignorance. I was just thinking of it as purely like a PvE thing.
So, like in PvE, it's not so much of a big deal, I think. But in the Crucible and Destiny, let me stress, man, as somebody who played hundreds of hours of it, it is a huge. Like Steve had maxed out gear and he played nothing but PvP, nothing. I mean, you can play straight PvP and max out your light level and get some pretty incredible gear. So that's a problem, and people don't seem to understand that. The interesting thing, and this is what I want us to talk about, is the fact that Luke Smith said these consoles can't run, specifically talking about PS4 Pro, for example, said it can't run Destiny 2 at 60 frames a second. And then Digital Foundry came in and said, we're calling bullshit. There's no fucking reason this console can't run this game at 60 frames a second.
Yeah, no, it's absolute bullshit. Like, I mean, yeah.
So throwing it out to the group, what do you guys think about the fact that Destiny 2 is running at 30 frames a second? Is this a problem? Is this something that does this bother you guys? We just lost Jay.
They really should have just targeted 60.
I agree.
For all platforms, just straight up.
I don't think it's that big of a deal.
It's not. I mean, Destiny 1 felt good for a 30 FPS.
Mm-hmm.
I played it. It felt good.
Yeah, it sure did. Now, Rand, there has been a lot of talk among Xbox gamers that either this game they're going to pull an E3 surprise and this game is going to run at 60 frames a second on Scorpio, or that the Scorpio. But you said we don't know if any of these consoles can run this game at 60 frames a second. You were kind of the voice of reason there. And do you expect some kind of October surprise from Microsoft and saying, oh, hey, by the way, you can play Destiny 2 at 60 frames a second on the Scorpio? Do you expect that to happen at all? We lost Rand. Is Rand there?
Crickets.
Rand.
Oh, I think he's muted.
Rand, are you muted? Why are you muted, Rand? He is muted. He decided to leave. But I don't know. We'll ask him when he gets back. But I don't see this as a big issue. I really don't. I don't see what the problem is.
It's not a huge issue. I think
it's not at all.
I mean, like,
It's
basically
just another thing for people to complain about.
All big shooters are targeting 60, and for good reason. Like, I mean, obviously.
I mean, I would
set the standard.
I would say that in PvE, I'm going to agree with Brandon again in the sense that I feel like there should be some kind of an option to run the game at 60 frames a second.
Oh yeah, it's like, if you're in Crucible, it's locked at 30 for everyone. But
honestly, I'm a little tired of developers aiming for, I'm a little tired of developers sacrificing frames per second for resolution. Because I care more about a smooth game experience. I care more about a smooth playing experience than I do, what the fucking trees off of the mountain, and in the distance, how crisp are they? I don't really give a shit about that. And I feel like in 2017, we should be getting, especially with these iterative consoles, the whole point of these things is to be giving us more options. And I've got a PS4 Pro. I don't really feel like, I'm wondering why I got it, to be honest with you, because, I mean, yeah, my games look a little bit nicer, but Horizon Zero Dawn still runs at 30 frames a second.
Yeah,
I don't have many games.
I mean, the whole thing was a half step.
I mean, I don't have many games at all that run at 60 frames a second on my PS4 Pro, as opposed to like Rise of the Tomb Raider and a couple others. But I don't give a shit about resolution. I care about frame rate. That's just me. And the fact
That's why I play on a 1080p 144 monitor.
The fact that the Nintendo Switch docked can run a game that looks as good as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at 1080p 60 frames a second is more than enough for me. That's fine. That's fine for me. Anyway, while we're waiting for Rand to come back, we'll go ahead and we'll move on to.
Oh, by the way, yeah. Speaking of frame rates, Vanquish came out for PC today. Fucking finally.
Yes, it did.
The long requested Vanquish, which was previously 30 frames per second. Because most Platinum games were 60. I mean, Bayonetta was targeting 60. Metal Gear Rising was targeting 60, and Vanquish was just the one game that they put out that was targeting 30, and was hamstrung by not having a unlocked PC port.
So I want to address something that somebody in chat said real quick. It's Buddha Time says, hey Megadeth, for frames per second is a deal. I think you meant to say a big deal. But think about this. You have a bigger advantage if you have an Elite controller or keyboard and mouse than someone that don't have. And no, I don't agree. Maybe a keyboard and mouse, but not an Elite controller. I mean, an Elite
keyboard and mouse, absolutely. I mean,
keyboard and mouse, absolutely. But
it's a big deal with Overwatch on PS4 and Xbox.
The Elite controller.
Actually play Widowmaker with the keyboard and mouse.
Yeah, well, see, the thing about an Elite controller, I've used an Elite controller. It's a great controller. It's probably the best controller it's ever made. But it's not actually. It feels good to hold. It's not actually going to make you better at the game. It's not going to give you an incredible advantage over somebody playing with a DualShock 4 or just a regular old Xbox controller. So no, I don't agree with that. But we'll talk about. Let's move on to Far Cry 5. That's an interesting topic. So there's a big reveal for Far Cry 5 tomorrow. I want to say it's like at 8:45 Eastern.
I like me some Far Cry. I platinumed 4 and Primal.
What was that? What was that, Torpdeo?
Morning or night?
Morning. So it's going to be like 5:45 Pacific time.
That's what 6:45 my time. Holy shit!
Yeah, dude, you have to wait.
That's early as fuck.
You just catch it on YouTube, man.
Yeah.
But so the box art got released the other day, and you should have seen some of the fucking tweets that I found. These people.
It's pretty standard template Far Cry box art.
I retweeted a few of these. Man, there are some pissed off racists who are all upset at the box art of Far Cry 5. So you got this guy, and it is a very clear allegory for the Last Supper, right?
Oh yeah,
absolutely, yeah, 100%.
That's the first thing I thought when I saw it. I was like, oh, it's the Last Supper with Kings of Leon. But you got all these dudes sitting here. It's very obvious this is a militia cult. You know, the guy's got
like this farm.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Ammon Bundy type deal.
Exactly, and you've got one guy. If you go back and look, there's a guy with like a fascist haircut who looks like Richard Spencer with a beard, and they're all sitting there, and they've got a guy on his knees, and he's got Sinner carved into his back, right? And the fucking shit that people are spewing on Twitter over this. I found one guy who says instead of being bold and making Islamic terrorists the bad guys, do you think they did that? Do you think they made it? No, they went with Christians.
I would like to introduce this fellow to a game from 2001 called Fugitive Hunter on the PlayStation 2, where the final boss of the game is Osama bin Laden.
Are you serious?
Or any Modern Warfare game.
Or literally any.
That's what I said. Like, I think Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Let's list the games.
They were all like
Islamic radical terrorists as the.
And not to mention that every other Far Cry game was a white guy going into a minority area and killing all of them. So sorry that this game takes place in Montana.
I think that was only 3 and 1.
So somebody in chat said fascist haircut with a question mark. Yes, there actually is a thing called a fashy haircut. And if you look at a picture of guys like Richard Spencer, you'll see what I mean. It's this special kind of haircut these guys wear.
Oh yeah.
I guess it makes them feel like a Nazi. I don't know why they do it. But Mitty in chat says, I love that folks are calling Ubisoft, a French company, unpatriotic.
I know, guys. Wait. Do you think this means we can go back to calling them freedom fries? I miss
Probably. So like I'm fucking excited about them. I think this is really cool. I think this is a really cool because people are like, there are like a bunch of white nationalists on Twitter who are getting so upset about the fact that the bad guys in this game are white Christians. And they're like, oh, it's white genocide. They're going after the white Christians. And I'm like, tell me another game aside from Outlast 2 where a group of fundamentalist Christians have been the bad guys. I mean,
like, also, why is it okay for everybody else to be the target of like a video game?
I don't get it. I don't fucking understand it. I don't fucking understand it at all. Like, okay, BioShock Infinite. BioShock Infinite, the bad guys were Christians.
Yeah.
And the fucking Vox Populi was just as bad.
Yeah.
If not worse. So
worse.
Dude, the Vox Populi were fucking awful. So I don't understand the people on Twitter, and I retweeted one of these guys, and he came back at me, and you know, he was like, oh yeah, you know, he was like, what are you, a fucking atheist? I was like, no. But I mean, who gives a shit about this? Like, why is this offending you? And it was, people are like, this showed up on Breitbart, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, Breitbart had a fucking article about the villains in Far Cry 5. It's like, you know, day after Islamic terror attack in Manchester, you know, we're targeting Christians. And it's like
games take years in development. They just made this yesterday, guys.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like whoever that guy is, whoever the cult leader is, these guys in Far Cry 5 have been the villains for years now. For years, because we're going to play this game this fall. And people are... Oh, Randy, you back?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry about that.
No, dude, don't worry about it. We're talking about Far Cry 5 and the white genocide.
Yeah. You know, like Matt said, I mean, I heard they started making the game yesterday. You know?
So, dude, I was talking about some of the shit that I've seen on Twitter about this, man. Guys like Ian Miles Chung are just fucking going apeshit over the fact that... There are a lot of people upset. I don't. The minute I saw that thing, dude, I popped up on Gaff and I saw it, and I was like, "This is going to be fun."
I love that image, though. It's great. You get the cross. I don't know what people want. The dude's supposed to be a villain, like you know, like a leader of a cult of some sort.
Leader. Yeah.
Only Muslims are allowed to be the bad guys, Rand.
Yeah, but I mean, have they not played previous Call of Duty games where they were the bad guys
for a long time? Yeah, that's exactly what we were just talking about. Yeah.
I'm just impressed that they got Daniel Bryan to sign on to be part of the game.
Well, Liam O'Brien is the bad guy?
No, the wrestler Daniel Bryan looks exactly like the guy on the bottom.
Oh, he does a little bit, doesn't he? Fucking, like, I think the setting, it's set in Montana, Hope County, Montana. I think, and they're very clear, and obviously I think they're going to draw from things like Ammon Bundy, as was already mentioned. But religious cults scare me, right? Like fervent religious extremist cults, be they Christian and they're, you know, or Muslim, or they frighten me because it is very difficult to change somebody's belief structure, right? Like when you believe something, it's easy to change an idea. It's easy to change an idea that a person has. Changing a belief is something much more difficult. So these individuals frighten me, and so I like to be frightened in games. I like to know that I like when I go up against a villain in a game or a group of villains, I like them to be intimidating. And the bad guys in this game, whatever they're going to be called, look incredibly intimidating to me. They look scary. And I'm really looking forward to it. I don't think there's ever been a Far Cry game set in the mainland United States. Am I right?
No, 1 was an island, 2 was Africa, 3 was an island again, 4 was, what was it, Nepal or something?
Nepal, and then
was
caveman.
Caveman land. Huh?
Primal's like Eastern Europe or something.
But I think so. When is this? Do we know when this game is supposed to come out? I know it's coming out this year.
I don't think
the rumors were like September. That was the rumors.
I think
the
3
big
and
thing
4
with
were both December releases.
True.
3 was December, 4 was November, I want to say.
Yeah, okay. Like late November. Yeah.
And then
that's usually their time frame.
Primal was a February release.
Yeah, Primal was early last year. Yeah.
The thing about this game is I love Far Cry. However, I would like to I mentioned that we joked about Destiny 1.5. I mean, Far Cry 4, a lot of the complaints about it was that it was literally Far Cry 3.5, right? Yeah. Same map structure and stuff. Hopefully, is not the case for Far Cry 5. Hopefully, you start the game and it's not exactly like Far Cry 4 and Far Cry 3. hopefully they change the series formula up.
I mean,
a little
and
bit, because,
Primal and Blood Dragon, like they're all the same structure.
Because
right there in the cover.
It is.
I'm sorry, man. Go ahead, man.
Well, I mean, Look, I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh, but like, even in the Assassin's Creed games, it always got old. Climbing the towers and synchronizing and jumping off, like the same kind of mission structure in the maps. And I know these are big teams, so like they reuse a lot of the assets. Like this is set in Hope, Montana. I guarantee you they reuse the mountains from Steep for a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, and you can look at the box art, Rand, and you can see it. Like I was, Vicky and I. Vicky is a huge Far Cry fan. She loves Far Cry. We were looking at the box art yesterday, and I was like, okay, look, there's a tower that you'll be able to climb. Look at this barn here. That's going to be an outpost that you're going to have to go and overtake.
I mean, Primal got rid of the towers even. So
it did, but I guarantee you.
I would be surprised. Like they made an active effort to get away from that. So I would be surprised if.
I doubt there'll be towers in this one.
Someone said like the church steeples might be the towers or something like that.
I mean, so Far Cry Primal didn't have towers. It had like campfire sites that provided the same purpose, but you didn't have to climb them. So.
Are they gonna still advertise this game as Skyrim with guns?
That was
like they did with Far Cry 3.
That was the machinima guy.
That was Was that was
I think he's with Funhouse now, but
no, it wasn't that Kuchera who said that.
No.
That wasn't Ben Kuchera who said that.
No, it wasn't Ben Kuchera. It was the fucking machinima guy. He's one of the guys who started the Funhouse YouTube channel.
Oh, Kovac? Well, Adam Kovac?
One of those guys.
One of those
the other
guys.
guy. I think it was the other guy. Not Kovac, but the other guy.
I know exactly. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he was the Far Cry or Skyrim with guns guy. I have to look this up now, though. Hold on. Now I'm curious.
I love Far Cry 3. I really do. It's just I like to see at least some sort of departure from tried and true.
It was Adam Kovac. He's the one who came up with Skyrim with guns.
I don't want to get the game and be like, all right, sweet, and then you like get to the open part and it's like, here's the same map, and like you said, there. Oh well, the towers are the church steeples and all. It's like, come on, I like we got to innovate somewhere.
It's gonna be a Far Cry game. Like they're not gonna take risks with it. I don't think.
Yeah.
But, like it's gonna be, their risks are gonna be integrating like the social component, right? Because like now all Ubisoft games have like this online social component,
online
right?
Ubisoft deal going on. Yeah.
So like how do they work with that?
Because
Far Cry 4
how does that work?
Co-op. Far Cry 4 had co-op, but it wasn't like a huge.
I mean, they've had multiplayer, but Ubisoft never pushed multiplayer in those games. I mean, it was kind of like a check on the box.
And they're not.
And
they're not going to push it here either.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, now, well, I don't know. Not now. Like their whole mantra is games as a service.
Ever since the Division, dude. Ever since the Division, all their games are all
Division. The comeback of the gen, which is Rainbow Six.
Yeah.
Going from obscurity to basically being a dominant force. Everywhere.
That's amazing.
The top 2 best-selling games this year are Ghost Recon and freaking For Honor.
Yep.
Like
which is crazy. I didn't know For Honor sold that well until like this last week. I picked it up and I was looking at stuff about it.
That fucking blew my mind.
Yeah,
the
that's ridiculous.
Ubisoft wasn't like talk about For Honor after it came out.
But so here's the thing about For Honor though, is like I heard it sold phenomenally, but the player base has just gone.
Literally nobody is talking about it anymore.
Well, just like Division, as soon as everybody kind of got to end game, the stuff wasn't there and it was broken.
What I heard about For Honor is that it was incredibly imbalanced, and it's a fucking PvP multiplayer game. I mean, how long?
Rand, I know you. I played a lot of For Honor. Rand, I know you played it too. If you're that assassin character, you're guaranteed a 90% chance to win every match.
Like I've never played For Honor, but when it first came out, what I heard people complaining about was like there's this like revenge mechanic or something that was just like that allowed you to like 1v2 people or shit. Like
dude, the assassin character is so unbalanced that it like every time I fought one in 1v1, I just disconnected. I was like,
I think it took them too long to unfuck it and people just stopped playing. So.
Maddie, you were gonna say something?
I played a few hours of it last week and like I don't know, it wasn't bad, and I really wanted to. I want to like it a lot because like one-on-one duels are fun, but it takes so long to connect to one-on-one duels, just because like there's not many people, so matchmaking takes forever. And then you jump in that mode with like all the bots and stuff, and it's just takes everything that's fun about the game out.
I thought that was cool though. Like that was a good palate cleanser from 1v1. Like I felt like I was in the midst of this huge battle, and I had all my soldiers on my side.
It felt like I was being a lot less tactical though. Like there was a lot less strategy to it, and a lot more just like I'm gonna run up behind this guy and smash him, and then run away when he turns around.
Yeah, but sometimes you get that catharsis though, man.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
You know, Brandon. You know, we talk about like, well, how Far Cry is gonna. What are they going to do for the games as a service thing? This game might have been in development before they really shifted gears.
Yeah, absolutely possible. But I think that they would even. I mean, the Division came out a year and a half ago, almost.
March 2016.
Yeah. So I mean, like that's long enough for them to integrate.
I mean, like,
isn't Far Cry one of their last remaining holdouts of not as a games of service, and yet it's still really
not well, kind of. The new Splinter Cell. I know the new Splinter Cell exists. I know people who played it, like legit.
That's going to be on Xbox stage at E3, right?
Probably. But here's the thing.
Oh my god!
I haven't heard anybody talk about it. It could be canceled. So in a way, like Far Cry 5 maybe was in development, and you're not going to cancel Far Cry because this is a huge franchise, right? Yeah. Even if it doesn't fit their games as a service mold. Splinter Cell, however, even though it was a big franchise, is nowhere near on the level as Far Cry.
I mean, like Far Cry as a multiplayer game just kind of treads on the same territory as Ghost Recon already does. Like open world kind of chaos simulator, just kind of do whatever you want. Like, what's the difference between Ghost Recon?
Wait, does Far Cry have a multiplayer?
I don't know.
It does.
It does. Yeah.
Isn't Ghost Recon just like co-op going and like taking down outposts and shit and like doing crazy stuff?
It's something like that. I haven't actually played it.
But it's that 4-player chaotic fun that you can have with your buddies, where you can just get on and bullshit and just kill people and just have fun. Like
so that's exactly what Far Cry would be like. So why would it wouldn't make any sense to make the same game twice? I don't know.
Yeah, and then as far as Splinter Cell,
but this is Ubisoft we're talking about here.
We got Splinter Cell.
Splinter Cell's canceled. I'm so disappointed.
Single-player game, like Michael Ironside's back as the voice of Sam Fisher. Spies versus Mercs. That'll probably be the part.
Spies versus Mercs is the thing. I mean, Spies versus Mercs was like the thing when Xbox first.
It was the thing, dude. That mode is great. So
there's nothing to play except Crimson Skies and Splinter Cell Pandora tomorrow.
And then it makes me wonder what the types of games as a service stuff is in the South Park game.
I think that game. I think that game's in trouble.
Well,
after
that game
every
isn't
boss
internally
battle,
developed by Ubisoft, so it's just
you can
gonna
share
be
your hit
single-player
points with your friend.
Jay, we can hear you again, dude.
Yeah, hey, sorry, my internet like crapped out on me. We've been having really bad like storms here the last few days.
Oh, dude, you're fine. It's not a problem, man. We're just
quit out.
Yeah,
we don't allow it.
Fuck out of here now. We're done. No, I'm just kidding. So I want to. We've been talking a lot about Far Cry 5. I want us to kind of shift gears a little bit, unless anybody has something else they want to say on that.
Since I couldn't really talk about that, I think Far Cry 5 looks cool. I'm glad they're changing the setting to Montana. It's radical, but it's not too radical, which is cool. So good for them. It'll probably be fun. I'll probably pick up when it's on sale.
I'm actually far more excited about Far Cry 5 than I was Far Cry 4. I love Far Cry 4.
Yeah,
Far Cry 4 was surprisingly good.
I played a little bit of 4
realistic.
I got really bored with it really fast.
What was that, Rand?
Everybody on this panel is the game they're excited for most from Ubisoft is Crew 2. You know this.
It's what?
The Crew 2.
The Crew 2.
Is that really getting a sequel?
Yes.
That's sold really well.
Oh, yeah, the Crew sold.
It was successful.
Yeah.
The highest selling 5 I've ever seen in my life. Terrible.
Basically. That game sucked. I bought the Wild Run edition, which was supposedly the fixed version, and I didn't.
We're getting the Crew 2, and there's going to be no good Beyond Good and Evil 2 at E3. But we're getting the Crew 2. Thank God. Thank you.
How long until you think we get steep 2? Well, even steeper.
Even steeper. These are all pipe dreams because we all know Beyond Good and Evil 2 is going to be canceled when Vivendi takes fucking Ubisoft over.
Basically.
So we got Lawbreakers, and we got what's some, because we got E3 coming up, and next week we're going to do some big predictions. It's going to be the bulk of the podcast. And I thought tonight we could talk about what some of these companies need to do in order to have a successful E3. So you guys want to talk about that, or do you want to talk about Lawbreakers?
So about Lawbreakers.
Let's get Lawbreakers out of the way, and then end with
that's
E3 smorgasbord.
So
wait, what about Rabbids Mario? We didn't talk about that.
Oh, that's gonna be game of the year right there. Perfect crossover.
Podcast. Rand's like, I'm out. Goodbye. I'm not talking about fucking Rabbids anything.
All right, I'll say one thing about that, if I may, is that Ubisoft has proven, if anything, this gen that they will make money.
Mm-hmm.
And Nintendo is the same way with their first-party IP now. And you combine the two, and people assume it's going to be stupid and a flop. Like, I'm sorry, you're a fool. A fool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
it's going to be inexplicably popular.
Well, two things. One, I think Mario versus Rabbids Battle is going to be a great fucking game because Nintendo generally does not farm out their franchises to things they think are going to be shit. Unless we're talking about some of those old 80s cartoons, which were pretty bad.
Metroid Other M?
Well, okay, fine. Metroid Other M wasn't as bad as people say it was. But somebody in chat just reminded me, real quick, one more thing about Far Cry 5. Did you guys enjoy that viral marketing in the congressional race in Montana for Far Cry 5? I thought that was really good. That was really good. How fucking fortuitous was that?
It's pretty badass, actually.
That was fucking phenomenal. But I'm not glad the guy got body slammed. I thought the timing was absolutely insane on that. But we'll talk about Lawbreakers real quick. So, Brandon, I know you're in the beta. Did you get a chance to play it at all?
I have not. I just got a beta key yesterday.
Okay, all right. So,
Brandon, we should play it together because I have it too.
Will do.
So
I don't know when I'm gonna get around to it.
Yeah.
So
probably never.
So probably never. No, I want to at least play like a few hours just because I don't really.
So Lawbreakers.
It interests me because I respect Cliffy B as a game designer.
So Lawbreakers is a PS4 console exclusive, and it's also going to PS4. As we understand it right now, it's not coming to Xbox, and you have seen a really interesting reaction from both PS4 and Xbox fanboys. And I mentioned this on Brap last night. On the Xbox side, people are saying, well, Cliffy B's washed up. He makes shit games. He's fucking irrelevant. And then they go back to playing Gears of War 4, which is fucking hilarious to me. And which I'm like, and you can't make this shit up. And then on the PS4 side, people are like, I literally saw a guy the other day tweet, man, fucking PlayStation baby, PlayStation Nation. We're getting through 2018. Look what we're getting. We're getting God of War. We got fucking Horizon Zero Dawn. We're getting fucking Last of Us 2 and Lawbreakers, bitch. And I'm like, hold on a second.
Lawbreakers went from a game that everyone forgot existed to being the single biggest salvo in the console
It's
war.
cannon fodder. Yes, it's a fucking shotgun shell in the weapon that people. That's all this. So
100% guaranteed. 98% of those people had to look up what Lawbreakers was.
Yeah,
I didn't even know
they're all too fucking young to remember that Unreal Tournament is one of the best goddamn games ever made.
I just learned today from Brandon that the name Lawbreakers is because they break the laws of gravity. I thought it was a game full of fucking criminals.
It's like police versus criminals, and they break the law.
I just thought it was like a fucking death match between criminals. I was like, all right.
It kind of it's both.
Like
it's supposed to be a double meaning.
I don't know. I don't. Yes, Cliffy B is a legendary game designer, right? Like nobody is disputing.
Look, who cares about Lawbreakers when we're waiting for Fortnite to come out? Am I right?
That's a thing.
Right?
Yeah.
But I don't. Lawbreakers is going to be to the PS4 what I think Sea of Thieves is going to be for the Xbox. A fine game, an adequate game that doesn't sell well. Because I do not think Lawbreakers is going to sell well, especially
it's not going to blow up the charts.
Especially in the age of fucking Overwatch.
It's not going to be more popular than Overwatch, certainly.
I mean, look at what happened to Battleborn. I mean, I think
it'll do better than Battleborn. I think it'll do better.
I think it'll probably do better than Battleborn. But putting out a game which is essentially competing with Overwatch, Brandon, more or less. I mean, that's what it is.
Lawbreakers is a hero shooter.
It's like putting out.
What do you mean competing against.
I mean, this is a game that's designed to compete against Overwatch. It's in the same genre.
Every
So
time,
it's looking for a piece of that mind share. What's that?
I said you say Overwatch, but its true competitor is going to be Battleborn.
But
and it's already won, I guess.
To that point, putting out a game right now to compete against Overwatch is like putting out a fucking MMO to compete against World of Warcraft at the height of its popularity.
And people did, and some of them still did well. Like
They
not
did
every
well.
MMO failed.
I guess what I find funny are people all of a sudden like
Just most.
we went from not giving a shit about Lawbreakers, like we saw it at PAX, and I didn't play it. I saw some gameplay. I was like, okay, fine, it looks fine. And now all of a sudden, people are losing their fucking minds. Like people on the PS4 fanboys are putting Lawbreakers in the same vein as God of War and Horizon Zero Dawn and fucking Uncharted and The Last of Us 2 as fucking system sellers. And I'm like, you guys are fucking morons.
Do you know what Lawbreakers reminds me of every time I hear about or see it? That what was that game? Brink? Is that how you pronounce it?
That game's
Brink.
awful, with the park.
Yeah, like just the look of it and like the hype about it, it's just kind of like people forget about it, and it's like, oh shit, this game's coming out.
That's not a bad comparison. I see where you're coming from.
And like everyone buys it, and they're like, oh god damn it, this game sucks. And it's like $5 a month later.
Brink is one of. Go ahead,
I thought this was a good strategy from Cliffy B and the boys because, to be fair, there's no hype whatsoever for this game previously on consoles. Nobody on PS4 was talking about it. Nobody on Xbox was talking about it because they never talked about console port. They said maybe it was strictly a PC game.
I mean, it was getting attention from like PC channels on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
Like Total Biscuit was covering it.
So if you wanted to make a splash,
subs.
you'd go for exclusivity. Now, a lot of people assume that they went with PlayStation because it has the higher install base, which is a good assumption. Like that is like, hey, if I was a businessman and I wanted to sell my game to the most amount of people, that I could, PS4 would be the first choice. But it's a correct assumption because the real reason it's on PlayStation is because, well, I'll give you a quote from a movie. You guys ever watch Jerry Maguire?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Show me the money. That's it.
So,
the reason it's on PlayStation and not on Xbox is because Sony paid more money than Microsoft would.
But Rand, Sony has no money.
For why?
Rand, Sony's going under, Rand.
So Cliffy wanted the game to be exclusive to one console. He didn't care which one that it would be exclusive on, as long as one of them paid for it. And Microsoft didn't want to pay for it whatsoever because, like John said, they were like, Lawbreakers, really, Cliffy? And Sony's like, yeah, whatever. Here's $10 million, and boom, it's on PlayStation.
Now,
Snickers bars.
Probably is kind of how it went down.
Real quick, though, I think there is one other facet to why PlayStation was chosen, and it has to do with the fact that Lawbreakers got picked up by a new parent company to publish it, and that company is Nexon, who is a primarily Japanese mobile gaming company.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
It originally wasn't picked up by a publisher, but Nexon, which is like right up there with Tencent and Gung Ho.
Yeah.
Sounds like an ancient Babylonian god.
Yeah.
But they already have a very strong predilection towards Sony to begin with, and I think that has to do with why that decision was made, because ultimately they're the ones. That's why Lawbreakers has blown up. Like if you remember at PAX, it had huge, massive booths. That's because they got that Nexon money now. That was never the case beforehand.
Yeah, you're right.
So
I mean,
this is Spider-Man chat going on.
This is a little insider info for you.
Oh shit! Scoops.
Like you're like I said, the assumptions that everybody's making, like, oh, it's on PlayStation because of number one. Oh, it's Nexus because of that stuff. Like, I'm telling you, the choice was simply Sony paid more than Microsoft, and that was the only decision that was there.
Oh, fair enough.
Nothing to do with install bases or anything. Like, it would have been on Xbox if Microsoft paid more than Sony. It was just Cliffy B drives a freaking Lamborghini Aventador. The dude only cares about money.
Yeah,
That's all he wanted.
If I was Cliffy B, I'd probably be the same way.
I mean, look at him. I mean, he's got like a hot wife. He's like 10 years younger than him. He drives a fucking.
She's quite attractive.
He drives a fleet of fucking Corvettes. Like, I mean, he's Rand makes a good point. Cliffy B's all about the money. That's fine.
He's essentially the Michael Jordan of video game development.
He is, and so here's something interesting, and this is a question for Rand.
I mean, he was just taken after John Carmack, though. John Carmack with his fucking vet.
He's like a modern day John Romero. John Romero, like a modern day John.
No,
Romero.
John Carmack was the car guy.
John Romero was the guy. He was the motorcycle. He had the full on.
John Romero wanted
right?
to fuck your shit up with that one game.
What, Daikatana?
Yeah, Daikatana. Yeah, Daikatana.
He'll make you his bitch.
Suck it down. Trademark.
He had nothing to do with that ad. That was.
I know, but that was still the greatest ad I've ever seen in my life.
It is.
I love the fact that
the greatest ad of all time. Absolutely.
I love the fact that IDOS had the presence of mind to trademark "Suck It Down." Like anybody was going to come in and say,
back in the '90s, "Suck It Down."
They came in, they came up with that ad, and in that fucking board meeting with that marketing firm, they were like, "Guys, Suck It Down is genius. We've got to lock this shit down now."
Suck it down, TM.
Demographic.
So nobody comes in and fucking takes this shit right from under us. But I got a question for Rand primarily. I heard an interesting discussion on Twitter that the real issue was not that Lawbreakers is only on PS4 and not on Xbox One. I heard somebody say that the real interesting problem is that Cliffy B is, he's the creator of Gears of War, which is a stable for Microsoft, and the fact that a game from Cliff Bleszinski that is not on any Xbox platform in any way, shape, or form it's just interesting, and maybe speaks to a deeper rift between.
Well, yeah, there might be some bad blood there between Cliffy and Microsoft from his time at Epic, and I did kind of originally, when I heard about the news, I did find it interesting because, like, I from a business standpoint, I know why Japanese RPGs don't come to Xbox. Everybody knows the reasons why. We all understand the business decisions behind it, even though we may not agree with it.
They tried once. They tried twice. Blue Dragon and
right. So it's like I get it. Like I get why those Japanese games don't come to Xbox, but like this is a first-person shooter, which is the bread and butter of the Xbox. It's the shooter box for a reason, and Cliffy B is a legend. He created Gears of War, so I was originally kind of shocked to see his game skip Xbox, because I thought that would be like tailor-made for the audience on the system.
Yeah.
And I admit, like, I kind of overreacted a little bit, because I was like, man, like, maybe it's not so much the title, but like is this a symptom of a larger issue going forward?
Some people have theorized that, Rand.
But then, I heard the real reason. I'm like, oh, well, I should have figured it was like strictly a money thing, it is what it is, and I still think, hey, doing the exclusivity thing is probably good for them, because now they have hype. Now you have Xbox people talking about the game and PlayStation people propping it up like it's some killer exclusive.
And Sony's going to market it now since it's exclusive as well.
Well, I don't know. Sony didn't really seem that, like, they didn't really use any like exclusive language in their tweets. Like, they didn't say, oh, they said, oh, it's coming. They, like, normally they would be like, oh, coming first, like they'll use exclusive a lot, but they didn't use any of that terminology. So it's probably a game they got, I don't know, for cheap, and it's like, yeah, it's $30. Yeah. It's not even coming out physically, because Cliffy B doesn't believe in physical media anymore.
There's a lot of things he doesn't believe in anymore.
Yeah, who knows if it'll even do well on PlayStation?
I doubt
it is a very saturated market. Like, there are a lot of shooters out there that do things like Overwatch, or to do things like Lawbreakers, but maybe, do it even better. So, it may come out and nobody might not care,
Lawbreakers is not going to peel me away from Overwatch. I promise you that.
And that's the big problem, right? Is that it's a $30 game. I have no idea what the dev costs were, but you have to wonder how much it's got to sell in order to even just break even, let alone turn a profit. And I just don't, like Brandon said, Brandon is a hardcore Overwatch player. This game is not going to win anybody away from Overwatch. It's not. And
not if you're already like invested.
Yeah, and I just don't.
Like I've spent money on Overwatch on loot boxes. Like I'm invested in that game.
Yeah, you're pretty invested, man.
I don't know. I mean, I guess depending on when it releases, but I just don't see this game doing well. I don't see a window for this game.
I feel like the game I played for like a week, and then I put it down afterwards, and I occasionally check up on it, I guess. Maybe.
The most interesting thing about Lawbreakers to me is the fucking console war ammo it has spawned for people on the other side. Like, that's the most interesting thing about the game to me. People that
I mean, like, I'm legit interested in it as a game. Like I said, like, I love Unreal Tournament. I like it. Looks cool. The gameplay I've seen looks cool. So like, I think it'll be a good game. But
Jesse said something in chat, and we can use this to segue into a little bit of E3 talk. He said the latest earnings report from shows that Sony is increasingly dependent on the games division. They're going to be ruthless.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because people like to say, "Oh, Sony doesn't have any money." Well, look at all the fucking third-party marketing deals they've got. I beg to differ. But I think we can use this to talk about what each of these companies need to do to have a successful E3. And we'll, you know what? We'll start with Microsoft because I think they're going to have the most interesting E3 because they are launching new hardware this year. You get the Xbox Scorpio coming out, and of course, obviously, it's not going to be called the Xbox Scorpio. Even though I feel like they almost should at this point because it's so ubiquitous on social media. But I throw this out for the group. What does Microsoft have to do in order to impress everybody with an E3 showing? Because they're kind of in my opinion, they're kind of the wild card here because they've got new hardware to focus on. Nintendo and Sony don't have that burden. They can show software all day long. But Microsoft has to focus on the Scorpio. So do they open with that? And then they say every game that we're going to show now is running on an Xbox Scorpio, or do they close the show with it and say, okay, here it is, here's the box, here's the price, and it's out in October. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
I kind of agree with you. I think you start with it because I mean we kind of already know about it. Just to start off, and close and be like, okay, this is it. Now let's just go on to showing off new stuff.
I think they start off by showing the hardware and the name, and they end by showing the release date and the price point.
Well, that's only if I think you're right, but like that's only if the price point's $400. You're not going to end the show with, "Hey, by the way, guys, it's available May 22nd for $500."
That's why
that's not going to.
It will be $400.
I think it's going to be $400.
Well, I think it's going to be $499.
I honestly don't know what to think. I hear there's 2 SKUs, which it leads me to believe it'll be 400 and 500 rather than 500 and 600. But I mean, no, I can imagine them starting it off with Scorpio, and like Matt said, to then end it. If it's really $400, then yeah, that's probably a good ending point. That price would get people really excited. But what they need to do is they need to show why you need the system. They need to show, visually how it makes the games better. How it runs them better. That's just one facet, and the big thing though is the games thing. So like, yeah, there'll be third-party games on stage. Microsoft has the deal with Assassin's Creed this year, so you'll see the Assassin's Creed reveal for that stuff.
Is that confirmed?
Well, I'm confirming it right now.
No, that's that, and I had heard that exact same thing that Assassin's Creed is going to be on Microsoft stage.
So it's going back and forth. So Unity, it was like 4 was PlayStation, Unity, Xbox, Syndicate, PlayStation.
Xbox absolutely has Assassin's Creed Origins.
They got Assassin's Creed. I wouldn't be surprised if there's the Bethesda game there since they're before Bethesda. Wouldn't be surprised if it was Wolfenstein, maybe.
Maybe.
There'd probably be an EA game on stage, maybe BioWare's new IP. I think getting ready to show off.
Like Dylan?
Yeah, I think that'll be there. So there'll be some impressive third-party games on there. But like obviously, what people want to know about is the future of Microsoft's own first-party studios. And they'll talk about the platform features, like they changed being the Mixer today. I don't know if you guys saw any of that stuff.
Yeah, I saw that.
Game. What the fuck is that?
Well,
game?
They couldn't copyright for the whole world.
Yeah, they couldn't get the copyright for being everywhere, so they had to change it to something else. But they're doing some really cool things with Mixer. Don't sleep on it. I mean, it's obviously not as big as Twitch, but competition is always good. But people want to know about Microsoft's exclusive lineup going forward, and if they show just Forza 7, the games that we know are coming out this year, plus Sea of Thieves, Halo 6.
I heard Halo 6 is gone now. Like that's not going to be there.
They're skipping it, but apparently they're going to be showing something.
Yeah, they're skipping it. It's not going to be there. So I think people want to be surprised. People want an unexpected announcement. They want something.
They want that megaton.
Yeah. They want a game like that you could put up on a pedestal and say that's our Horizon Zero Dawn or something like, you know.
You think Crackdown 3 is going to be the big centerpiece, Rand?
Well, see, the Crackdown 3 is a huge wild card because we've seen one CGI trailer for it, and we've seen two kind of like gameplay early alpha builds at Gamescom. So it very well could be like the wild card. We mentioned earlier that Ghost Recon is the best-selling game of the year. And that game has literally nothing to do with any other Ghost Recon. It's just based around the idea of 4 people killing people in a jungle and having a good time. Crackdown is more than likely modeled just like that. It's going to be, you can play in multiplayer, in 4-player co-op, and you just go in there, you hop around like superheroes, and you just destroy the city. So it could be an insanely amount of fun, you know, something that I think it could be the wild card. I think that game could honestly surprise a lot of people, but I think people are like, they're looking for a new IP with AAA production and budget that is not Halo, Gears, Forza. You know, like they want that, you know, that surprise that like, oh, where did this come from, right? That's what they're looking for.
Yeah, I don't think Crackdown's the game that Microsoft people put on the pedestal and be like, this is the game while you buy an Xbox.
Scalebound was that for a bit.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Scalebound was that.
And so it's
rest in peace, Scalebound.
Rest in peace, Scalebound.
Yeah, of course, Scalebound.
When Microsoft announced all those new IP games, and then it's just, but they just haven't come out yet.
So here's the deal. Here's where I see Microsoft's biggest problem, right? Like I'm actually more interested in Microsoft's conference than I am in Sony's conference because I want them to sell me on a Scorpio. I would love to own all 3 systems. And to be fair, if I don't get a Scorpio this year, I'll probably just get an Xbox One S. But I think they're going to run into the same issue, Rand, that Sony did when they tried to market the PSVR on that stage, and it went fucking awful. It was a disaster. Remember when they had the glowy dildos and they're doing the Pong back and forth, and it was just we were watching it live. It was fucking awful. It was a disaster. And I don't think the Xbox Scorpio is going to be that big of a disaster to show, but it's not going to be a disaster at all to show. But the issue is that most people, not all, but most people are not going to be watching this on a 4K screen. So you're not going to get any of those visual improvements unless you're watching it on a 4K monitor. So people are going to see this and they're going to say, yeah, okay. I mean, it looks good. Why do I need to spend another $399, $499 to pick up a new Xbox platform when last year I just got an Xbox One S? And I think that is going to be, you know, people say, oh, Microsoft's going to have a weak games lineup. I don't believe that.
Yeah. As someone who's like invested into like the Microsoft, you know, ecosystem, you know, I have probably like 200 360 games backwards compatible, you know, digitally, and I buy almost all my Xbox One games digitally. I don't have confidence right now to buy a Scorpio, and that's what scares me. Is, you know, all I can look forward to this year is Forza 7 and Sea of Thieves. And to be honest, I played the alpha of Sea of Thieves, and I wasn't like sold on it. So going to E3, like I'm scared. It's like what first party games do they actually have to like show off? Because the only thing to show off this year for me to get hyped up on, I think I'm gonna skip on the Scorpio. It's just not worth it at this point. I've lost trust in Microsoft with their first party production.
I feel like this E3 is Microsoft's to win.
Like, make it or break it.
They can either knock it out of the park, man, or they can swing and completely fucking miss it.
Yeah, and I'm fearing this to be more the latter rather than the former, to be honest.
Rand, what do you think? You're the big Xbox guy here.
I mean, yeah, this E3 is important, surely. I mean, Microsoft has clearly positioned the Scorpio as an answer to basically the Digital Foundry articles this entire gen, where every time a multiplat came out and was always better on PlayStation, they got their teeth kicked in. and they don't want that narrative to exist anymore. And you look at the NPD numbers, you look at games that sell, even though Horizon sells great 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, those games don't. Like we talked about, Grand Theft Auto 5 still selling 80 million units, and that's a game that's 5 years old, right? Ghost Recon is a game that's best selling of the year. For Honor, none of the exclusives will be in the top selling, top 20. Yeah. It's all going to be multi-platform games. So they see the scenario as all right, we're going to build a system that is really powerful, that is going to run games at native 4K, right when 4K TV adoption rate is starting to pick up, where you're going to see a lot of TVs on cheap for this holiday. They made a bet with including a 4K UHD Blu-ray player on that stuff. Is it going to pay off? I don't know if this E3 is exactly going to be what people want, because I'm not sure their first-party stuff is there yet.
Yeah,
I think a lot of money went into R&Ding this system, and I think they kind of had to skip out on the exclusive stuff.
And if that's the case, why skip Halo 6 then? I just don't get it.
Yeah. Well, Halo 6 is still coming out. It's still coming out.
Oh no, I know it's coming out, but why not give him something at E3?
Well, he could be very. The dude could be lying. He could very well.
Yeah, that's true. Dude, that would be a great.
But would it though? I also kind of feel if they showed Halo 6, people would just be like, it's Halo, whatever. Who cares?
I don't think Halo's as big as it used to be, and the hype around Halo. I
tweeted 4 or 5 months ago that Halo needs to be killed off, and so just like Uncharted, and people lost their fucking shit. And I was like, what do you want?
I like Halo 5, so I want to see it keep on going, but
Halo is it's obviously not on the level of Halo 3 from 2007, because
nothing
was the height. But Halo 5 still sold extremely well. Oh, yeah. And over and what we almost 19 months now, they say it has the best retention ever since a Halo 2 game. So
there's still a ton of people playing it.
Yeah, so I think it. They say they know what's wrong with it. They say we screwed up the story. We didn't focus on Chief. We introduced Locke. We understand you didn't want that. So Halo 6 is going to be all about Master Chief. It's okay, good. That's a good first step. Now just make the missions better and do and evolve the multiplayer a little, because Halo 5's multiplayer is great. But I'm not just sure Microsoft has anything to show ready right now from any exclusive wise brand new. I wouldn't be surprised if you got a Fable 4 teaser, repurpose artwork from Fable Legends that they probably gave to a new studio. I wouldn't be even surprised if they partnered up with the second party studio to bring back an old Microsoft IP like Mech Warrior or Mech Assault or something like that.
We can bring Phantom Games to do that again, guys.
Well, yeah. So I don't know. It's going to be. I think no. Honestly, I think the media and most of the fans are probably going to say it was a terrible, not a good conference. I can already see the media saying all Microsoft showed us is Scorpio and third-party games, and then Sony. The next day Sony's going to basically show you all the stuff that they showed you last year.
Final Fantasy VII Remake, which just now entered active development.
Well, the only thing,
fucking years.
Sony's basically showing their entire hand for the next 3 years.
Pretty much.
The only thing new you're going to see is maybe Sucker Punch, but they'll
be here's the crazy thing. We can use this to talk about Sony now. It works. People fucking eat it up, dude.
It hypes them up.
And people are fucking, it worked on me when they showed Final Fantasy VII Remake. Brandon was in tears, and I was close. I was like, fuck.
Actual tears.
I was like, are you fucking shitting me with this?
And they haven't even started development of the game, though.
But see, the thing is, Sony gives hope. They give hope that you can buy his console, and this will come out.
They take that hope away when they delay their games.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So you know what? Let's talk about Nintendo first, because Nintendo is kind of the new kid on the block with the Switch. I think one thing Nintendo absolutely has to do is virtual console has to be there.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be. It has to be there. I don't think they can afford for it not to be there. And to be honest with you, I'm a little surprised that we haven't heard anything about it up to now. I just the virtual console would have made, because I love my Switch. I play my Switch almost every day, but I play Zelda and Mario Kart and and Tetris, and that's about it.
The ports.
Yeah, so the Virtual Console would have made the thin launch lineup a whole hell of a lot more bearable. If I could play like, Super Metroid or A Link to the Past or Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy VI or Super Mario World or Super Mario 3 or something, the Virtual Console, I feel like if it's not at E3, that is going to be a huge black eye for Nintendo. And then we have the fact that they're only talking about Jesse in chat says Dead Space and RE4 Switch ports when. Dude, if they ported Dead Space to the Switch, shit, son. Like, you'd have to pry that thing out of my cold, dead hands, man. But the focus, I guess, is on 2017 games with a few mentions of 2018 games. Do we think, it has been theorized over and over and over, do we think that Metroid is going to be there?
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe.
I stand by it.
Yes, but I say that like every year, and
Yes, and every year they disappoint.
Yeah, because we've gotten the traditional generational skip for Metroid. Skip at 64 came out on the GameCube. Skip the Wii U. It's gonna come out now.
I have hope. I have hope for Metroid for a few things. One, Retro. We all remember when Retro said we're working on something delicious, and they tweeted out that picture of prime rib. And then also when Reggie was giving an interview, I think to GameSpot, and he said they were talking about Mother 3, which is another game I would love to see at E3.
Yeah.
Fucking Mother 3.
If only.
But he said, what are you going to ask me about Metroid next? And they said, well, yeah, what about Metroid? He said, I'll tell you what. Talk to me again in a year. He said we are acutely aware of some classic franchises that our fans are waiting for the next true installment for. And all I can say is talk to me again in a year and see where we're at. So that to me, I was like, ooh, Reggie, what are you doing, Reggie? Don't do this to me. Don't tease me like that. But I would love to see either, I just want Metroid. I want Samus. I don't care if it's Metroid Prime 4. I don't care if it's 2D Metroid.
Do you care if it's Metroid other M?
Like, what if it was like Metroid Another M?
Another M.
But like, or even like a third-person Metroid in the vein of like Breath of the Wild, just open world, go where you want as long as you can get in there. Like that would be fucking incredible. But obviously the big thing is going to be Mario Odyssey for Nintendo's E3, which I don't. Somebody theorized that might be delayed. I don't think that's not going to happen. That is a lock.
I just want them to announce a new Animal Crossing for the Switch.
I think you're going to see it.
And then I would buy one, to be honest.
I think you're going to see Animal Crossing, and I think you're going to see Pokemon Stars. I think they'd be fools not to show. But we all know Pokemon Stars is coming.
Here's a valid question, though. There was a NeoGAF thread a couple of days ago about Game Freak looking for 3DS RPG developers. Do you think Nintendo's going to like focus more on the 3DS at E3, or do you think they're actually going to focus more on the Switch this time?
Oh, dude, it's going to be Switch.
Because I know they say they want the 3DS to live on for a couple more years.
From what I have heard, their presentation, because they're not doing a live presentation, they're doing the Treehouse. It's an hour-long, basically an hour-long, direct. It's going to be that direct is going to be focused solely on the Switch. There will be no 3DS games presented at the direct. The 3DS game. They're going to talk about the 3DS games somewhere else.
Like an actual E3, like booths and whatnot, people can go.
Yes.
Yeah, like they did last year.
Yeah. So I know. Hey, Pamela, how you doing? I know for a fact that the direct itself, the hour-long presentation, is going to focus just on the Switch.
Yep. Speaking of the Switch, Monster Hunter XX got announced for the Switch.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that. I think
that's pretty big news.
I think Nintendo's going to have a good. I think they're going to have a strong E3 as long as they do the thing. As the Virtual Console, if the Virtual Console is not there, then I think we've got a problem. And obviously, I think they're going to talk about Nintendo's online service, which I keep forgetting about. But which fucking launches this fall, and I hope they take my suggestion and put in some kind of it, because I had tweeted back in March. I said, give us an achievement system. It was incredibly tone deaf, in my opinion, to not have some kind of an achievement system in 2017. Call them coins, and make the classic Nintendo, Mario gets a coin noise whenever you get one, and then when you platinum a game, for lack of a better term, make the one-up noise.
That'd be pretty cute. Yeah.
It's not fucking rocket science, right?
Yeah.
And just call it the coin. Just call it coins.
You're supposed to have like achievements. They're supposed to call like accomplishments or something like that. Wasn't that rumor for a while?
Call them coins. Don't call them accomplishments.
Yeah, accomplishments is such a lame name.
I feel like
like
they can call them coins because of the rewards program.
You think so?
That's yeah.
What are mushrooms or stars or flowers or something?
Yeah.
We'll call them amiibos.
There you go. By the way, I'm getting that cloud amiibo. I've got that pre-ordered.
You'll get me one.
Let's. We've got about another 8 or 9 minutes. Let's switch gears real quick and talk about Sony, and what they need to do. I think Sony is probably, and when I say this, people will say, "Oh, John's a Sony fanboy." I think Sony's probably in the strongest position to wow people this E3, simply because they don't have to worry about launching a new console. They can focus solely on games. And they've got a ton of third-party marketing deals. You guys know they're going to close the show with The Last of Us 2.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you, we will probably see something from what I've heard on Final Fantasy VII Remake, even though it's just not in fucking active development. And we won't play that game for another. I have heard Shenmue 3 will be there. I have all kinds of interesting stuff is going to show up at Sony's conference. Bloodborne 2.
Maybe that rumor of Shenmue HD will be there.
I have heard that. I've heard there is some kind of a collection, an HD collection. I don't know if it'll be at E3, but I have also heard that Bloodborne 2. I've heard from several people that Bloodborne 2 is going to be at E3 with a March release date. We'll see if that's true or not. And if it's true, I know this guy is legit, and I can go back to him for more information. But I've heard that Bloodborne 2. I think Sony's in a really strong position this E3. I think that I do think it was smart of Microsoft to switch what is their what Sunday? It's the day before Sony's conference, right? Microsoft's conference.
I think. Hold on, let me check the schedule.
Yeah, check on that. Rand, when is Microsoft's conference?
Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific or 2:30 Pacific, I think. Or 2 p.m. 2 Pacific, something like that.
I thought that was a smart move. Going before Sony.
Yeah, I mean they
on a whole different day, separate themselves because
they were always before Sony.
Oh, shit.
No.
EA goes before Microsoft on Saturday. Microsoft might get destroyed.
Well, what I mean by going before them is I think it was smart of Microsoft to move their conference to Sunday and make it a completely different day because then people they're not gonna watch Microsoft's conference and immediately measure it right next to Sony and start judging it based on that, which they shouldn't.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's all how it always happened.
I find the notion of anybody winning or losing E3 to be ludicrous. I just want everybody to do well.
Yeah, it's just fun.
It's not a competition. But I also think Spider-Man is going to be there, and from what I have heard, Spider-Man is going to see. The big rumor is that Spider-Man is going to see a release date this year.
Oh, like Matthew predicted so long ago.
I have heard that.
Congratulations, you get to suck it trademark.
So, by the way, somebody, Jay and chat mentioned that for $100 on our Patreon, you can be our bitch. For $200, you can suck it down. To donate $200 to this teacher's patron.
For $1,000 a month, you can play Lawbreaker, the beta with Brendan and I for 20 minutes.
Rand, you gonna donate to our Patreon? You want to suck it down?
For $500, we'll provide them.
Rand, you thought about that way too long. You thought about that way too long.
So you think Spider-Man's coming this year?
I do. Now this is the same guy who told me that Bloodborne 2 is going to be shown with a release date of March.
So when do you think the Spider-Man release date is? I was just kind of curious.
October or November, because that is right around the time Homecoming's going to be hitting digital and Blu-ray. That is why I
think there's zero chance Sony releases a game in October or November.
I would agree with Rand. I think if it's coming out this year, it's got to be either December or August.
What is Sony's release schedule for? You got the Uncharted Lost Legacy in August.
That's in August.
You have Gran Turismo Sport most likely in September.
Yep.
Maybe God of War in October, but I honestly think God of War will get delayed to March.
Yeah, because every God of War game's been a March release pretty much. So that's.
I think Spider-Man's next year. I think Spider-Man is next year at some point. I don't think it's because Sony really doesn't release games in the holidays at all. Like they tend to avoid that whole area because games get crushed.
Yes, they do.
Dishonored 2 got crushed. Titanfall 2 got
Titanfall 2
crushed.
got destroyed.
Watch Dogs 2 got crushed.
Titanfall 2 in stores now. Please buy it.
Yeah.
Dishonored 2 got fucking annihilated.
Like I
have a copy of Titanfall 2 sitting right here. I bought it.
It's a great game.
Yeah, Titanfall 2 is great, but like, I know Horizon Zero Dawn did great and it launched in February, but if Horizon Zero Dawn launched in November or October last year, it would have gotten crushed.
It would have gotten creamed. I agree.
Yeah. So Spider-Man, unless it's coming out in July, unless it's like launching with the movie or something like that, I think is next year.
I can actually see them doing something like that. But hold on, no. The movie comes out.
No. What they could do is the Blu-ray could release this fall, and it comes like an exclusive demo code, and then the game doesn't come out till next year.
How do you demo a game like that though?
I don't know.
I could see that.
It's
the same way you demoed. Didn't Crackdown get a demo?
If it comes out this year, it either comes out in August or December. I think December would be a viable time to launch.
Like December or next January, maybe.
Or January. January would be good.
Or February, like 1 to 3 months.
I think when they announce it at E3, I think the release date is going to be less than a year away. Let's say that.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're going to see it. You're going to be playing it less than a year from now.
Spider-Man's probably the game they show at E3 that you're going to be playing less than a year from now. All the other games probably like at least a year or two.
Nah, not Days Gone. Game's going to be the hype.
Days Gone will also be at Sony's E3.
I forgot about Days Gone.
I have actually heard, and dude, they're grinding on Days Gone to get that out before The Last of Us 2. Thematically, those games are way too similar. And I have also heard that the Chris Redfield DLC for Resident Evil 7 will be at Sony show as well. I don't know if that's true or not. But yeah,
spoilers.
Last of Us 2 is going to be the song for the PS4. It's going to come out in 2019 in the summer, with PS5 launching in the fall of 2019, and Death Stranding and Horizon Zero 2 will be launch games for PS5.
I can see that. I can agree with that. Yep.
Death Stranding, I think is a Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild kind of thing. I think it's going to be on both. But because you look at if you look at Sony's games and what they have, like. Next year you're gonna have God of War, you're gonna have Spider-Man, and you're gonna have Days Gone, and that's 2018. And then 2019 you're gonna have like Death Stranding and Last of Us 2 and stuff. Like Sony basically showed off like their next 3 years at PSX and stuff.
It gets people excited, but at the same time it works against them, because when these games get delayed or they don't come out for the next 3 years, people get pissed off.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. But I think each one of these companies has the potential to have a really strong E3. I think Microsoft. I don't know whether I would say Microsoft or Nintendo need to. I mean, they both have a lot to gain and a lot to lose at E3 this year. I think Microsoft more than Nintendo needs to hit this one out of the ballpark, and I believe they can.
For sure.
I honestly believe they can, and I hope they do. Because the Scorpio can't, and again, I've said it before, I don't think it's going to sell. I think it'll sell more to the Xbox hardcore crowd than the PS4 Pro did to the hardcore Sony crowd. Mm-hmm. But anybody expecting this thing to, I mean, I've heard people say, "Oh, it's going to sell a million consoles." No, it's not. People need to check themselves on what exactly the Scorpio is going to do. It's an enthusiast box, just like the Pro is.
Yeah.
I think it's more interesting than the Pro because it's going to do true 4K. But at the end of the day, it's just an enthusiast box. And yes, Enrique, yes, I think we'll see Detroit. I think Sony's going to pull all the fucking stops out because they're going to have to, right? I mean, Microsoft's going to be talking about new hardware. I think Sony's going to throw everything but the kitchen sink at Microsoft to try to offset that somehow.
Yeah, but I mean, also like Sony's also going to have Destiny 2 there. They're going to have Call of Duty there.
Yeah.
They're going to have Far Cry 5 there. They're going to have. I mean, their show is going to be full. I mean, you may not get exactly all of those games though, because they're going to have
That's a good point.
number of third party.
Yeah.
The new Batman game, like I'm assuming well, I mean, who knows? But like,
I heard that's not going to be there.
Yeah, didn't.
Also, you have to understand that there's also Gamescom coming out in PSX. Sony's traditionally always spread their releases and announcements throughout the whole year, and it's Microsoft that front loads E3 and then really has nothing to show or announce for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Sony has all these other avenues that they traditionally can utilize.
You know, I heard a rumor that you might enjoy.
Let's hear it.
What's that?
I had heard that Microsoft will be at TGS this year.
Oh,
Fancy.
Ooh.
that's when you're going to see Halo 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's when you'll see Neo Definitive Edition for Scorpio
Oh, shit.
and Nier Automata, the real version for like I don't know.
I wish you guys
And Scalebound remastered.
I think Detroit Becoming Human is a GDC game.
I think that's what you mentioned Gamescom.
Gamescom.
Games
That's a
that'd be a good Gamescom game.
Yeah, it would.
What about Sucker Punch? This game's probably going to be shown off as well. This at E3, I would imagine. But the thing is, like Sony's blown their wad. Like
That's exactly
you know exactly what they're going to show because they've showed it already.
They're going to be like, suck it down, trademark.
Suck it down.
All right. Well, Randy didn't get to talk about Rhyme.
Rhyme.
But yeah, Rand's got a big boner for Rhyme.
Give Rand have him do a quick breakdown instead of like
super quick, 1 minute.
Have you played Eco? Because if you love Eco, play this game because this is a game that Team Eco would have made if they were still making games.
Oh shit.
It is a audiovisual masterpiece. I don't use that term loosely. The soundtrack in the game is fucking god tier. The visuals are second to none. They will pull you in. I'm not sure the composer. I'm not sure what they've done. The game is freaking gorgeous. Each of the different areas have a different look and theme, and a new unique gameplay element is added. In the 8 hours long. It is one of the few games where I literally finished the game, went to bed, and could not fall asleep because I could not stop thinking about the game.
Ooh, I'm getting around this actually.
Like, I adore everything.
Is David Garcia. He did Deadlight.
Oh, but dude, I'm like the soundtrack is god
So,
tier.
Rand, we got a question.
I think I might just order it right now.
Rand, somebody in chat asks, JV DeGrazio asks, is it better than Inside?
I'd have to play it a second time to see. I've only played it once.
Okay.
It is 8 hours long. It's $30, so it is more expensive than Inside. It's also longer. And there are things wrong with the game. The frame rate's bad in spots. It is bad. And I hear it's better on PlayStation than Xbox. But the frame rate does chug at times. Some of the animations when you're climbing around doing the various like traversal puzzles, like when you want to like pull back and jump behind you, that stuff is kind of clunky, so it's not great. But my god, the rest of the game,
it sounds like it really rises above the sum of its parts.
Dude, like play that game. Do not get spoiled on it. And let me know what you think, John, when you play it and finish it. I'm really interested in seeing what you think because the game, it was one of the few games that literally got better as I kept on playing it, and then when it ended, I was gut punched. And I'm oh my god!
I've got a half day work tomorrow. That's going to be the first thing I do when I get home is play some Rhyme.
Yeah, I'm probably order a copy right now.
I had it ordered through Best Buy from like forever ago, so I'm excited.
Woo! What a fucking episode, guys! We hit a little over an hour and a half, and we fucking action packed as shit. There's so much to talk about. That's what happens when you're away for a week, and I don't feel like we hit everything.
It's a plus as always.
But man, what a great episode! We had some new faces in the chat today. That was awesome to see. We had a good crowd tonight. A lot of discussion in the chat. A lot of likes, guys. If you haven't liked yet, please like. If you haven't subbed, please subscribe. We do appreciate that. I know we've got some new viewers in chat tonight. Hopefully, you guys had a really good time. I know that we always enjoy spending time with you guys and hanging out, and we always enjoy when our friend Rand joins us as well. Man, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
It's always
great
love coming on the show.
It's be a pony for a day. Be a neutral, a disgusting neutral for a day. But does anybody have anything else before we get going?
Download Phantom does. It's free.
Yeah, why not, dude? It's free.
Yeah, it's fun. I like it. It's cool. Yeah.
It rants as or don't.
Or don't waste don't waste your
your space
broadband on it.
You'll hate it or you'll love it. That's all I can say about it. It has a really good soundtrack, but
don't forget, guys, we are going to be streaming every single E3 conference. I will be streaming every single E3 conference, and members of the podcast will be joining me as they can. I know Brandon will be there for pretty much everyone, probably.
Yep.
Yep, it's gonna be a good time. And Rand, hopefully you'll be able to stream the Xbox conference with us. But if you can't, I mean, you got other stuff going on, so if you can't, install it.
Yeah, because I'm not sure what my plans are yet for that.
Yeah.
So.
But thanks to everybody in chat for hanging out. We had a great time. We love you guys. We appreciate you. You are not just viewers to us. You are our friends. We look forward to hanging out with you every single week. So just like I look forward to hanging out with my boys here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired. All right, guys. So as always, it's not always poetry, and we don't always agree, but we always keep it real as fucking hell. So until next week, go play some Battlegrounds, and we will see you guys later.